We're coming up to the end of December
2023.
of 2023. We went to the pastures for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It was some nights.
Yes.
I love his little children. They're wonderful. And love them too, but I got a thing for children. Because they're our future with God.
Mm-hmm.
And our presence with them. And that was wonderful. That was Christmas Day. My friend Dean wasn't doing well. And the next day, it was the 26th. I was down there with them, and he'd gotten bad. He'd gotten bad. And they'd pumped up his morphine pretty good. And we just knew. We just knew.
Yeah.
The week before, he'd fallen again, going to the bathroom. And he'd said to me, he said, you know, again I went to the door of heaven. He said, but this time God wasn't as nice. He said, he yelled at me. He said, Dean, I said not yet. And he kept saying to me, I want to go home. I want to go home. Please, Lord, let me go home. I remember the family was all coming in. And I said, I'll get out of the way. And the family said, no, we want you to be here. So I got to hold his hand. I got to read. I read Psalm 91, which is our favorite prayer together. And I read in Psalm 23. And we were there. One of the daughters was telling a wonderful story, and we just knew that that was it. That he had gone home. He'd gone home to be with Jesus. Sorry. And I felt peace. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I just sat there for a few minutes, and I went over and sat on the couch with some of the family, and we knew where he'd gone. And I said to my heart, I said, you know what they're going to say to you, Dean? Well done, my good and faithful servant. I knew that's what he wanted to hear when he went home. Yeah.
Well, that's all anyone wants to hear.
I was sad. I mean, cried now, but I didn't cry then. As I sat there and realized that he was gone. He wasn't there. And I thank the family. I thank God for letting me go through with that, with him. I needed to see that. I needed to know how to deal with that. And the funeral was on the New Year's Eve, I think it was.
Anyway.
It was right around that day. And I'm sorry, but it's going to sound a little odd for some people, but when I feel things, And the family said, we're going to ask you to come up and sit with us up front. And I thought, what an honor. And then I said, no, I want to sit in the back. I believed I was going to see him up floating in the corner, watching. He'd helped plan his funeral. He knew what he wanted. And I thought for sure that
Didn't he say something about it?
Yes, he was going to be there at his funeral.
Well, hopefully.
I know. I mean, not just his body.
Yeah.
Not
spirit.
just his body, spirit. And I believed so strongly that I believed that he was going to show up.
If you had had one of the gifts of seeing, you would have seen him.
And I didn't realize that might have been coming. But I believed that I would. Maybe that's why things have changed for me. Because I believe. And I think believe is a big, big, important part of our lives. And if you believe everything without a doubt,
nothing is impossible.
Nothing is impossible. I want to talk about January 1st right now.
Okay.
It was, again, around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't check the time this time, but I know it was this time of day. And I was laying there praying and thinking about all that is happening in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And a voice came to me. I know it was God. And he said to me, enough. He said, it's done. He said, draw a line in the sand. And that's all he said. But in my heart, I knew what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what he was talking about. It was this burden that I was carrying. Not just the disease, but the everything about cancer. The stress, the
constant
everything about it. I was cancer. I was not me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a burden that I was carrying around. I was trying to help others. I was talking about cancer and everything. I was researching cancer. I was doing herbs. I was eating. I mean, it was taking up a lot of my time, which should have been God's. Everything should have been God first.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting closer. I felt I was getting closer and closer to him. And I got up that morning. And I was just, whoa. And I jumped up. And I took my foot and I dragged it across the kitchen floor.
Right here.
Yes. And I said, you said to me, what are you doing? I said, I'm drawing a line in the sand. And I told you what God told me. And a burden was lifted off of me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because something had came to me that a friend, Joey, had said to me. No, I don't know how long before this. He said, I know a man that God said to him. Now, how does that work? I'm not sure how it worked, but he said, this man was told that he could see without eyes. And that came to me that day. And I looked it up. And I came across this guy, I'm pretty sure his name was Ronald Cohen. I'm not sure how you spell his name.
And a shout out to the woman that we found him by.
Yeah, that is strange how we find people.
I don't know what her name is.
She's Glory Stories, but I don't remember her name.
Okay, Glory Stories. She's very good. She's very
Yes.
good. I love her.
And she's a specialist in eyes, and she traveled around the world healing,
Yes,
doing operations of
surgery.
people's eyes. And this guy was doing testimonies about being able to see without eyes. He had a plastic eye.
And they used her as the specialist in it
Yes, and she taped
to make sure that he could not see. And she put tape all
I
over
forget
his
how
eyes.
many layers of cotton and how many layers of tape.
Mm-hmm.
And they would bring him driver's license or Bibles and stuff and whatever. And he would hold it up and he could see in the spirit. He could read them. And that came to me that instant that Joey told me this story. And it came to me, if he can see without eyes, I can walk without bones. And I mean...
Without good bones.
Yeah. But I took, for me, it was just that whole, it was just
Bones.
without bones.
Yeah.
It was simple. I'm a simple person. I take, shorter the phrase, the better for me. And I lived by that after that. Because I didn't have the stress having to worry about my cancer anymore.
I remember that you said you gave it to the Lord.
I did. I didn't give him the disease, I gave him the burden.
Yes. But I remember you saying, I gave it to the Lord. I drew a line in the sand.
I handed it to him.
I draw a line in the sand and I give it to you, God.
So I didn't have to worry about it anymore. No matter what happens to my body, it doesn't matter in this world anymore.
Yeah. That was the turning right there.
That was the turning part of my life right there, of this whole ordeal that I've been going through. And
which makes us lean towards, there's a variety of ways that people are trying to heal people.
That we watch online.
Yes, when you watch online. We were trying to, get healed by whatever means. And one of the means was casting out. And so we're leaning towards
We're going to
that.
do a whole video on the 3 different ways that
Yes.
we've learned and what we believe in our heart is true as through the Bible.
And we want to do prayers for healing, for specific things. There's
And burdens. Some people,
and burdens, yes.
Some people call it deliverance, but
Yes, deliverance and burdens.
yeah.
And the 3 different ways. We'll do the 3 different ways. You
Yes.
know, God hears all. You know,
Yeah.
Holy Spirit works through.
So you understand how we were learning, and we were having all these things thrown at us from different directions, and where we were confused on some of the things. And we always leave it up to God, the Holy Spirit, to guide us.
Yes.
And
all the healings of the Holy Spirit.
and we're only at January 1st.
God and Jesus.
Yes. Of 2024.
Oh, are we January 2024?
January
Good,
1st of
good.
2024. We're catching up. But we did have a lot going on this year. But it seems to be...
Don't look.
Yeah. It'll be a surprise as
So
we go.
we'll hurry through.
Yes, we want to get up to today so we can keep up with everybody, what's going on, with our daily prayers and people that come into our lives and
what
stuff
God's
like
doing.
that.
What
Yes.
God is doing.
And we are so thankful for everyone out there that's supporting
yes.
us.
Yes.
And we love it so much.
Yes.
Okay. God bless.